Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Alex Dvorkin, and I'm a managing partner at 4D Capital. We specialize in a very unique mathematical approach to the stock market, where we analyze the market and individual stocks in multidimensional space, and when we do, essentially perfect order emerges. On top of that, we've developed a number of very powerful timing indicators over the years, and when we combine both of them together, we can essentially predict what the overall market or individual stocks will do, and we can typically do it on multiple time frames. Whether it's short-term or long-term, doesn't really matter. Now, I personally believe our work is nearly identical to what Jim Simmons was able to accomplish at Renaissance Technologies. So we're going to be looking at Johnson & Johnson today, ticker symbol JNJ. This is one of our 52 mega cap stocks that we update twice a year. This is an update, and thus far, very quickly, let me pull up the chart here for you. So this is what we're looking at. So far, the stock has been behaving perfectly according to our forecast. We had a major bottom here, which we were projecting at the time. And at that time, we said that once the bottom is put in place, J&J will go on to basically top out in the middle of August of, in the middle of 2027. I know this point says January of 2027, that we need a little bit of a time extension. When we reviewed the stock, we need a little bit of a time extension for that. So if you want to basically get the nuts and bolts of this forecast, please skip forward a couple of minutes, particularly if you're familiar with our work. I'm just going to review very quickly what we're looking at here, so people who are new have an understanding. So the triangles you see at the top and bottom of the chart is what we call cycle composites. This is a very simplistic visual representation of a very complex mathematical concept, where we scan the chart back in multidimensional space, we identify those cycles, and we project them into the future. So the bottom ones are responsible for the bottoms, and the top ones are responsible for the tops. Typically, but it's more complicated than that, I should say. So typically we have multiple composites running for both the bottom and the top. So I use Dow Jones as an example always. And on the Dow Jones, for example, we have 2 lower composites and 2 upper composites running at the same time. And they're a little bit different. But when we put them together, if you know how to put them together, you can very closely replicate what you see on the 2-dimensional time and price chart in terms of the actual movement of the stock in time and price, right? The actual stock chart. So what I like to say is that the cycle composites give us into the neighborhood of the actual move, and then cycle clusters, which is what you see the line here. Let me unclick this and then click this so you can see a bit more of them. So cycle clusters are basically also a very simplistic representation of a complex mathematical concept. But this time around, we scan the chart back in multidimensional space, and we use our proprietary cycles that we develop over the years, and then we project them into the future. So the composites get us into their neighborhood, let's say plus or minus 2 months, depending on the length of the cycle that we look at. And the cycle clusters give us the actual date. So clusters, basically what we found over the years is that an important turning point or short-term turning point, doesn't really matter depending on the time frame you're looking at, typically happen in any given stock when there's not a single cycle arriving at the same time, but when there's a multitude of them arriving at the same time. So 2, 5, 10, the more the better, right? Particularly if they're more longer term in nature, then it nearly guarantees an important turning point for that particular stock. I always use Dow Jones once again as an example. So in March 6th of 2009, very important bottom for the market, we had 15 long-term cycles arriving at the same time. So if you're familiar with how that works, you can very much ascertain exactly when that turning point is going to be. So anyway, when we put both of these factors together, we can basically figure out the exact date of when an important turning point is going to happen in the stock. So for the time being, you can ignore this line. So this was a mid-cycle bottom right here for J&J, and now we're increasing into this major cycle top, which is expected by middle of 2027. Okay, and so the question becomes, where is the top going to be? This cluster right here at approximately $250 a share is a very good one. We believe it's going to go there. Let me show you a different representation of it. So this is once again yet another three-dimensional representation of our work. I know it doesn't make any sense to you, but it makes perfect sense for us. So you're just going to have to trust me with this. Basically, the green region we see here is our projection for the top. It is approximately $250 a share around the middle of, once again, 2027. Once that top is put in place, then the JNJ is going to have a significant decline into the next cycle bottom, which is scheduled to arrive at approximately 2030, 2031. So nothing very exciting for this particular stock. You know, we have $50 left for this upside. That's going to take, let's see what, nearly 2 years. So there's some profit there, but nothing significant. Same thing on the downside. The stock is basically not of any particular interest. But if you are holding J&J or even not in that sector, that would be hopefully very helpful thing for you to look at. Okay, so that's it for the analysis. A very quick one today. I think we're going to be looking at NVIDIA tomorrow or on Friday. I'm not really sure. I think probably tomorrow. Couple of very quick things. So we have a 30-day free trial associated with our service. No strings attached, no credit cards, none of that stuff. All you have to do is request it. Link in the description of this video. Click on it, request it, we'll set you up, and you'll gain access to a wealth of information in terms of the overall stock market, the 52 mega cap stocks. We have fast movers, we have super equities, we have our trading parameters in our trading section. So you're just going to have a tremendous amount of information available to you. Hopefully you're going to find it useful. Now, we also have a webinar coming up this Friday, October 31st at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And why this might be of interest is because we talk about the overall stock market, its composition at this time. We very seldomly do so. We also talk about and showcase our software that's able to identify stocks that will, for example, 2x, 10x going forward within a relatively short period of time. And how that works, and we also showcase our calculations and how we calculate the market in the multidimensional space. So if you haven't been following our work, it's not something you've seen before. We are one of the very few people who do this kind of work. Well, as a matter of fact, I'm not aware of anybody else doing this kind of work, perhaps at Renaissance Technologies, but they're not talking about it. And so yeah, I think you're going to find it very, very useful. It's limited availability. We still have a few spots left. Link in the description of the video. Once again, register if you have time availability in that spot. That's it for today. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be back with another analysis tomorrow. Bye-bye.